Buddy, it's me, Roscoe, and here, big news. Ipswich Town has smashed their transfer record by bringing in Omari Hutchinson on a permanent deal from Chelsea on a 5-year contract. I'm joined by Heafy as we react and discuss this massive news. Heafy, this was dropped late last night. England, of course, progressed to the quarterfinals of Euros. But the bigger news was Ipswich Town signing Omari Hutchinson. My friend, big news indeed.
Yeah, it's massive, isn't it? Putting aside the timing of last night, which was absolutely fine. I didn't want to sleep last night. I'd rather be working. The fact they've signed Omari, even though we kind of knew it was coming, it's another one of those things, isn't it, Ross? Where it just feels surreal. I keep expecting someone to kind of tap me on the shoulder, and I wake up and Town are actually still in League One, and Marcus Evans still owns the club. Because the things that are happening now is just unheard of. You know, obviously the McKenna stuff, getting promoted to the Premier League, and we've always been told don't fall in love with a lone player, haven't we, at Ipswich Town? Because thinking back to likes of Tom Lawrence and Ryan Fraser and players like that, no chance they would ever sign permanently for Town. Last season, George Hurst delivered, and then this season, Omari Hutchinson, which is an even bigger statement. And in doing so, absolutely obliterating. Smashing is not a big enough word. Obliterating the club transfer record from 4.75 million from all those years ago, Matteo Sereni, to now, well, an initial 18 million, but it'll be well over 20 million by the time it's all done and dusted with bonuses and add-ons and that kind of stuff. So just crazy. It feels so surreal. And I was doing some fan reaction last night, and I think one of the comments on there, and I can't remember who it was from, but if it was you, I agree with you. It was essentially like anything feels possible now, and it does, because what Town are doing, what they did last season, is not meant to be possible. That's going through the Championship from League One, unheard of pretty much in modern football, and then they keep the manager in the face of interest from some big clubs. And now they've signed, potentially one of the hottest young talents in the country, and God knows how much he'll be worth. 2 years down the line, they've got him for 5 years as well, which is massive. So, yeah, very very exciting times, Rossi.
Yeah, big statement for Ipswich Town. A 5-year deal. As you said, we were signing players on freeze loans. As you said before, loan players. You just thought, yeah, that one good season of us, now move on. And yeah, he was fantastic last season when we spoke many times on the podcast about him. 11 goals, 6 assists in his first senior season as part of that team that got promoted. Obviously, Chelsea were trying to get, they're currently looking at PSR and FFP and stuff like that. And they want that to get over the line. That deadline was yesterday. Obviously, this was rumbling on for the last few weeks. Kieran Kenner has got his wish, Heafy, and that was an end of season due. He sort of got asked, your birthday soon, what's your wish? And he's got Omari Hutchinson on a permanent deal.
Yeah. I mean, the other thing to look at as well is that it wasn't like Town were the only side interested in signing Omari Hutchinson. Obviously, given what he did last season and his kind of reputation in the game, there were lots of clubs in for him. We talked about Stuttgart and others. I mean, so for him to kind of decide that he wants to come back to Ipswich, clearly very very comfortable at the club with McKenna as his manager, and we know. Clearly, McKenna has a reputation for being able to improve players exponentially, and he's done that already with Omari. Just come back to the fact this guy's only 20 years old as well, and how where his ceiling might be, because generally players obviously don't peak until their late 20s, do they? So, it's a very very exciting signing, very exciting, and in terms of where we were not too long ago to where we are now. Remember, we're talking about here. Town signing a player for 18 million, well, over 20 million when it's all said and done. And not too long ago, when the club got taken over, I think we said that was 40 million to buy the club. So now Town are buying a player for half what the club was valued at just a few seasons ago. I can't say it enough. It's just incredibly surreal and very, very, very exciting, isn't it?
Yeah, the fan base said he did reaction last night, and yeah, I think fans were pleading with the club. Mark Ashton, get your cooking all out and all that stuff. The little joke there about bringing Omari back, and they've done it. As I said earlier, big statement in intent. They obviously want to try to stay up in the Premier League. It's going to be a big task, but for them to bring in early doors as well. Obviously, Omari can be, the preseason training starts today, so he's going to be straight there with the lads. Obviously, the new shirt was teased, Heafy, one of the pictures they showed. So that should be dropping soon. So, breaking news everywhere. But yeah, any other notes on Omari? Because it's just last season, he just was amazing, wasn't he?
My only thought about Omari, and so I'll put this question to you. I know you're the host in this particular scenario, but I'm going to put this question to you. So we've just signed a player for 20 plus million, 18 million initial. But that's different now from last season. Obviously, he was a loanee, and he was in and out, wasn't he, of the side? Obviously, towards the end of the season, he was an every game player and absolutely fantastic. But when you signed a player like him for that much money, that kind of means he needs to start, Ross. So where do you reckon he plays? So you've got obviously that three behind the striker. You've got Broad, generally speaking, obviously subject to change over the summer, excitingly. But you've got Broadhead, you've got Chaplin in the 10, and you've got Burns on the right. Now, we've seen him play as a 10 and more so on the right when Burns wasn't around. Where do you think he plays out? Because there's going to be pressure for him to start pretty much every game next season. Where would you play him?
That's a good question. And get in the comments later, let us know your thoughts on this. But yeah, you spend that amount of money, you've got to start him. He's got to start. But the good thing is, once again, he ticks all the McKenna boxes. We knew that last summer, although he was a bit of an unknown because he's never played senior football. But he was versatile. Obviously played in multiple positions. Obviously, that's a good question to ask Omari. Where does he feel his best position is? But yeah.
Where do you want to play him, though, Ross? Stop sitting on the fence.
Question. I'm always sitting on the fence. I don't mind him on the right, but then that's Wes Burns.
Or is it?
Yeah. Like 10 role is perfect for him as well, but then it's Conor Chaplin's position. We're now stepping up to that Premier League. Such a hard question.
Should I tell you what I think?
Go on.
I really like him as the 10. I know we saw him most on the right, but the few times he played as the 10, especially when he had Burns outside him on the right, and the fact they were kind of overlapping and kind of floating around, it was really, really hard to predict what they were going to do. And I really, really liked it. But then obviously, as you say, that means if he's playing as a 10, then where does Conor Chaplin play? Morning, Harvey. How are you, old friend? Because Conor Chaplin clearly was what he's been leading scorer for the last 2 seasons. You can't see him being benched in the Premier League. So interesting, isn't it? Another talking point.
Big talking point. There's a few comments here, through the middle for sure, on the right. It will see. Well, I think once again, McKenna will look at different teams. I'm sure he'll go, okay, what's the strengths? So, where would he be better with? So yeah, I think Omari could play anywhere in that front three. So we shall see. But I like him on the right, but I also like him in the middle as well. But do you drop Chaplin? Who do you drop? But he has done that last season. Chaplin didn't play every game. But yeah, let's just see what Harvey said here. Is worth noting the 10 in our system drifts to the right as well. So yeah, that is true. That is very true.
That is what his tendency as well, isn't it, Omari, to kind of drift to the right. So, as I say, when we've seen him play there, I really liked him there, particularly with Burns out on the right. I thought they worked really well together and were a nightmare for teams trying to figure out who was going where, and because they were just cropping up all over the pitch. So yeah, I think if you pin me down and said where would you like him to play, I'd say the 10. But clearly, then you've got an issue as to what you do with Conor Chaplin. But exciting though, isn't it? Good problems to have, Ross.
Good problems indeed. Yeah, that depth in that positions. You never know. We may sign more players in that position going forward as well. Omari will be playing Chelsea. It's going to be a while until we actually play Chelsea. I've looked at the fixtures. It's the final game of 2024. So
is it?
Yeah, December 29th at Portman Road. So and then Stamford Bridge in April. So yeah, Omari. It's going to be a while until he plays his former team. I think Arsenal could get a bit of a some sell on as well, because obviously
I think they got a percentage of the sell on. There's no buyback clause in the deal as we understand, but there is a sell on, and you'd expect there to be a sell on for a guy who will probably be worth north of 50 million if he does what we think he can do in a couple of seasons. So yeah, Arsenal will get some cash in the deal somewhere as well. But obviously, from our point of view, don't really care about that. The main excitement is that Omari's an Ipswich Town player. He's an Ipswich Town player for 5 years as well. Crazy.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, once again, Omari Hutchinson is a permanent Town player. Those days, as Heath mentioned earlier, of having a loan player, and no, we're not probably going to sign him permanently, is over because Town have done that, smashing their transfer record. Heath, another potential signing could be happening today. Ben Johnson from West Ham. We spoke about him last week. That could be announced at some point today. West Ham free agent. He's a free agent now because he left West Ham.
Yeah.
Another versatile player as well. Another young player like Kieran McKenna ticks all these boxes.
Yeah, absolutely. Ben Johnson expecting that to be announced today. Please God, not at 10:15 p.m. Let's get it done nice and early. By lunchtime would be nice if you're listening, guys. Obviously not as sexy as Omari Hutchinson, but I think also a really good bit of business. You've got a guy who has played, he's 24 years old, so as you would say, Ross, a good age. He's already played more than 100 senior games at West Ham, come through their academy. He's played Premier League, he's played Europa League, he's played Conference League, played at a really high level. He's part of the squad that won the whatever they won at West Ham, the Mickey Mouse Conference Cup, whatever it was. Yeah. He's really experienced. He's primarily a right back. Clearly, we know that's an area of the side that Town are going to be looking to strengthen with Harry Clark having surgery and Axel Tuanzebe, who kind of ended the season playing there, not really a right back. And he's also capable of playing left back as well, so he can fill in behind Leaf as and when needed. Clearly, signing a guy to be undoubtedly the backup to Leif Davis as a role would be challenging, but you've got Ben Johnson who can do that as part of his job. I think it's a really good bit of business, and in its own little way is another little statement, because there are a lot of clubs interested in trying to sign him, and it also ticks boxes. We talked about the versatility, the age, also ticks a big box in that there's not going to be a fee, so he's coming in as a free agent, which is great, which obviously means they keep some more money up their sleeves for the other positions they need to fill this summer. And there's obviously when you start looking at where they need to spend money, striker they don't tend to come cheap. So if they can save money by not forking out fees on players and filling needs, though, all the better.
Yeah, exciting stuff, ladies and gentlemen. The sexy stuff is finally happening. Some big news dropping today, though. He feared about the departure. Vaz is currently a free agent now because it's July 1st. We dropped the story this morning. He's set to depart Town. Yeah,
it's a bit of a surprise, this one, isn't it? We kind of started to feel like there may be something going on. We expected it to be done sooner, didn't we, Ross? Given Hladky's amazing form last season, out of contract, as you say, they were in talks. They've not been able to agree a contract. So as it stands, he is officially a free agent, not an Ipswich Town player. I don't know if that means that he definitely won't be coming back. But certainly at the moment, he's not an Ipswich Town player. And it looks like there's going to be some significant upheaval between the sticks in this off-season, because you obviously got questions around Christian Walton. If Hladky's gone, are they going to be keener to keep hold of Walton? We've talked about Walton needing to leave to play football. Not too long ago, Walton was on the verge of, if not being a Premier League starter. Obviously, we know Kieran Slicker wants to go out and get some playing time elsewhere on loan. So kind of big questions answered by signing Omari and bringing Johnson in to fill a need. But now there's more questions around what happens in goal. And Alex, almost as if we planned it, actually, Rossi, Alex has done a bit this morning, looking at 6 potential keepers that they might be interested in this summer. So there we go.
Yeah, the club have just announced that Vaz is departing the club, which is a shame. He's had quite a journey, hasn't he? From signing from Salford, basically a backup, and then obviously Walton got that injury, in pre-season, and Vaz was unbelievable. Those saves, but we're always a bit worried that he's out of contract. I'm sure there'll be interest, in Scotland and such. But yeah, I know a lot of Town fans will be, very sad to see him go. But now it does looks like to be a new number 1 at Town, Heathy. I know Cole Ruffworth's been linked to, Brighton. But yeah, some big news there, as you said. A lot of upheaval in the sticks.
Well, yeah, I mean, the fact they've now tweeted saying he's leaving the club adds an extra level of finality to it, doesn't it? I was speculating that maybe it doesn't mean he's he's gone just because he's out of contract. But yeah, he's gone. So there we go. He's off. It's very sad because he did an unbelievable job, didn't he? Do you remember on the eve of last season when it emerged that Walton had done his plantar fascia, and we were all like, oh, that's bad news. But then Vaz comes in and has an incredible season. It's just a shame they've not been able to do a deal. You wonder which side of that is where that's come from, whether he wanted guarantees that he was going to still be the number one, whether that's the club deciding that they can't guarantee that, and that keeper is maybe somewhere that they need to upgrade over the summer. But yeah, ultimately he's gone, and Town, as you say, will now need to find a new number one this summer. Will it be a new old number one in Christian Walton, or will it be someone new entirely? Probably leaning towards the latter, you'd say. But yeah, some big things happening, Ross, aren't they? It's exciting. And as you say, we've still got a lot yet to be announced. The friendlies, we've only got one friendly announced so far. Obviously, they're going to play more than one friendly. Yeah. The kit, we've had a teaser there from Omari last night. Breaking news, friends, it's blue. What a surprise. So yeah, that's all obviously still up in the air. They have to obviously reveal the kit before they play the first friendly, because they ain't going to turn out in last season's kit. So I'm just excited, Ross. Thank God, after a period of nothing happening, where we were frantically trying to fill web slots and paper inches, now we've actually got stuff happening. Things are kicking off, and it just makes it all feel all that more real as we head towards the season starting. What is it? We're July the 1st now. So what, a month and a half until Liverpool come to visit.
Ooh. Yeah, bring it on. Yeah. We shall see where it goes with the goalkeeping situation. I'm sure we'll have players in mind. I know there's a few names getting chucked in the chat, but yeah, it's been great to bring you this live show to discuss the breaking news on Omari signing. Ben Johnson's very much set to sign, and Vaz departing the club live on air as well. We sort of knew it could happen, but we now got the confirmation from the club. Any other business for you, Heafy? As you said, it's just going to be a busy next few weeks.
Yeah, it's going to be a busy day today, busy couple of weeks as those unknowns get revealed, as we just talked about. Obviously, we're going to do a proper pod later on today. So if you want to hear the thoughts of Alex and Stewie, which, let's be honest, you're probably more interested in than me, they'll be on there. So that'll be coming to you. And obviously, we'll be keeping our ears to the floor. The boys are working on stuff this morning as the transfer stuff properly starts to hot up. But as a statement, so far this summer, Ipswich Town keeping Kieran McKenna, then complete. I need to come up with a different word than obliterating. I need to dip into my vocab bag, because obliterating isn't even enough to describe what they've done transfer record wise. They're
not going to do it again, are they? They're not going to break that record. I don't know. Ooh.
Well, they need a striker, don't they, Rossi? Strikers don't come cheap. So who knows? You wouldn't bet against it, and the old record. God, how many times is that going to be broken this summer? We don't know. But as I just go back to what I said at the start, it's just so exciting. It's just, after all these years of dull, turgid, insipid boredom following Ipswich Town, nothing exciting ever happening. Now we're in the Premier League. We've got the best young manager in the country. Just signed one of the best young players in the country. Just smashed the transfer record. Unbelievable, Ross. I'm very excited, and that's not just because I've had about 17 coffees already this morning.
Yeah, I'm excited too. Can't wait for it. We all want to dance with Omari, and can't wait to see him as a permanent Town player on the opening day against Liverpool. Thanks everyone for joining us. I'll hopefully bring you more lives throughout the summer with breaking news stories and all.
Maybe even another one today, Ross.
Well, yeah, you never know. If Ben Johnson if it links up well. But we will be doing a podcast, as Heafy mentioned, so that'll be on all platforms, obviously available on video for subscribers as well. But yeah, stay tuned on Kings of Anglia as always, and we'll be back next time for another live and all the videos we do. Heafy, thanks for joining me. Thanks everyone.